His name is Derrick Rose. He is big time. Not legit, not good, but great. And you have these guys playing the kind of defense that they're playing with a point guard who has the ball and everything goes through him. The assists, the points, the pace, everything is dictated by Derrick Rose. I'm predicting right here, right now, that Derrick Rose will win league MVP honors.
Why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league? I don't see why. Why?
The internet laughed. Analysts scoffed. This was a 22-year-old kid, an age at which no player in NBA history had ever won MVP. The Bulls were a .500 team. LeBron just formed a super team. Kobe was still Kobe. And this kid thinks he's going to be MVP? But here's the thing. You probably remember D-Rose won it. What you don't remember is just how insane he was to do it. Because 2011, Derrick Rose wasn't just good, he was a cheat code. And by the end of this video, you're going to realize you completely forgot. So let's rewind to October 2010. The countdown to history had already begun. Let's set the scene. It's the fall of 2010, and the NBA has one story: LeBron James. The decision had just shattered Cleveland and created a super team in Miami. LeBron, Wade, Bosh, the big three. Everyone assumed they were about to run the league for the next decade. Championships felt inevitable. And the Chicago Bulls, they were an afterthought. A nice young team. Maybe a second-round exit. If things broke right, nothing special. D-Rose was coming off an all-star season, sure. But top 5 point guard? Debatable. You had Chris Paul running the point like a general. Darren Williams was cooking in Utah. Rajon Rondo just orchestrated a finals run. Where exactly did Rose fit in that conversation? And now he's talking about MVP? The doubters weren't quiet about it either. Youngest MVP ever at 22? That's never happened for a reason. The Bulls don't have the supporting cast to compete for a top seed. He's athletic, but can he actually lead a team to 60 wins? That, why not? Quote, got passed around like a punchline. Social media had a field day. Analysts dismissed it as youthful arrogance. The consensus? Kid's talented, but he's getting ahead of himself. And look, the skepticism wasn't crazy. Yes, Rose had won Rookie of the Year. Yes, he'd made an all-star team at just 21. The flashes of greatness were there. You could see the freakish athleticism, the fearless drives, the clutch gene, but MVP in a league with LeBron, Kobe, Dirk, Wade, and Durant at 22 years old? Come on, there's absolutely no way. Here's what the doubters didn't understand though. That quote wasn't arrogance, it was conviction. Derrick Rose had been doubted his entire life. Growing up in Inglewood, one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods, overlooked, questioned, counted out at every turn. He'd heard no, and you can't, more times than he could count. So when he sat in that interview and said, why not me? He meant it. This wasn't a kid hoping to be MVP. This was a kid who expected it, who'd already decided it was his. The only thing left was to go out and prove everyone wrong. And that's exactly what he did. The 2010-11 season tipped off, and within the first month, the laughing stopped. Game 2 of the season, United Center. D-Rose drops a career-high 39 points with 6 rebounds and 7 assists. A statement game before most teams had found their rhythm. But he was just getting started. 24-14 on the Knicks. 22-13 against a future MVP. Back-to-back 33-point explosions. 30 on the defending champs. 35, 12, and 7 against Phoenix. Then 37, 7, and 12 against Sacramento, with an ankle breaker on Tyreke Evans. So nasty, the man kept spinning like a Beyblade after he hit the floor. This dude wasn't just playing well, he was cooking the entire league. And it wasn't just the numbers, it was how he was doing it. D-Rose's speed was different, like a Ferrari weaving through minivans. One short burst and he was gone. Past his defender, past the help, past anyone who thought they had a chance. His body control in the air defied physics. He'd twist, contort, adjust, mid-flight, and still finish through contact. A 6-foot three-point guard playing above the rim like he was a power forward. Those herky-jerky drives, impossible to predict, impossible to stop. You'd think he was going left. He's already at the rim. You'd load up to cut off the lane. He's dishing to an open shooter, because that's the thing people forget. Rose wasn't just a scorer. He was a true point guard. The passing was elite. The vision was real. This wasn't just athleticism. This was something different, like watching someone play a completely different sport than everyone else on the floor. By December, the narrative had officially shifted. D. Rose wasn't a sneaky MVP candidate anymore. He was the front runner. And the Bulls, they were climbing the standings fast. Then came Houston. Rose went for 30 points, 7 boards, 11 assists, and 5 steals. But the stat line doesn't tell the story. Game tied. D. Rose pulls up from 3 at the buzzer. Bang. Sent the game to overtime and ended up winning by 3. Game over. Bulls win. Big-time players make big-time plays. By February, the league made it official. Derrick Rose, all-star starter for the first time in his career. And how did he celebrate? By hanging 42 points on the Spurs, including 13 in a clutch fourth quarter, to seal their 38th win. Chicago wasn't just a playoff team anymore. They were legitimate title contenders. And D. Rose, he was the entire reason why. But the MVP race wasn't over yet. LeBron was still LeBron. Dwight Howard was putting up monster numbers. If D. Rose wanted to make history, he had to remove all doubt. After the All-Star break, D. Rose didn't slow down. He accelerated. The Bulls ripped off an 11-1 record over their next 12 games, 8 straight wins at one point. The United Center became a house of horrors for visitors. Rose dropped another 42-piece on Indiana, a statement game that had Paul George shaking his head on the bench, then strung together 6 30-point games in a 12-game stretch. Chicago hit 60 wins, the best record in the entire NBA, better than the Spurs, better than the Lakers, better than LeBron's superteam in South Beach. This wasn't a hot streak. This was a coronation in progress. But the MVP race wasn't a done deal. Not yet. LeBron was still putting up LeBron numbers in Miami. 26, 7, and 7 on ridiculous efficiency. Dwight Howard was anchoring Orlando's defense like a human cheat code. Both had legitimate cases. Both had the resumes. But the narrative belonged to Rose. Here's how the argument went. LeBron had Wade and Bosh, 2 other All-Stars, a super team built to win titles. Dwight's Magic had a losing record. Hard to call someone most valuable when your team isn't even winning. But D. Rose, he had Chicago on his back. No other superstars, no big 3, just him, a solid supporting cast, and 60 wins. The youngest MVP candidate ever, leading the league's best team, the best story in basketball. And then came game 81, Madison Square Garden, national TV. This is where legends announce themselves. The brightest stage in basketball, Spike Lee courtside. Celebrities packed into the front rows, the world watching. And D. Rose treated it like his personal showcase. 26 points on the box score, but the real damage was done above the rim. First quarter, Rose catches a lob and elevates. Tomahawk slam. The Garden gasps. Knicks fans, who came to root against him, couldn't help but rise to their feet. Second quarter, he attacks the paint and stuffs a 2-handed dunk through traffic like he's Shaq in a point guard's body. And for the finale, D. Rose takes flight for an acrobatic reverse slam, head damn near at the rim, and the crowd loses its mind. Even the New York faithful had to bow down. The MVP race was over, and everyone in that building knew it. Weeks later, it became official. Derrick Rose, 22 years and 6 months old, the youngest, most valuable player in NBA history. Let that sink in for a second. In a league with LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, generational talents, future Hall of Famers, And it was a 22-year-old kid from Englewood, Chicago, who literally rose above them all. They laughed when he said it. They mocked him, called it arrogance, called it delusion. Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Now they had their answer, because he was. But an MVP trophy wasn't the goal. A championship was. And in the 2011 playoffs, D. Rose was about to evolve into something even more terrifying. Playoff D. Rose had arrived. The MVP trophy was nice, but D. Rose didn't come this far for regular season awards. He wanted a championship, and in the 2011 playoffs, we witnessed something terrifying. Playoff D. Rose wasn't just MVP D. Rose with higher stakes. This was a different animal entirely. A man possessed. Eyes locked in. No smile. No jokes. Just violence at the rim. Round 1. Indiana Pacers. Game 1. 39 points. 6 rebounds. 6 assists. 3 blocks. A masterpiece. Game 2. 36 points. 8 boards. 7 dimes. 2 steals. He nearly matched it. The Pacers had no answer. Chicago closed them out in 5 and moved on. Next victim. Round 2 brought the Atlanta Hawks. In this series, this is where D. Rose became a legend. Game 1 in Atlanta went to the Hawks. Game 2 in Chicago went to the Bulls. Series tied 1-1, heading into a pivotal Game 3 at the United Center. So what did D. Rose do in front of his home crowd? He dropped 44 points, a playoff career high. The United Center was on its feet the entire fourth quarter, watching their hometown kid put on a show they'd never forget. He didn't just beat the Hawks. He gave Chicago a signature moment. Chicago took Game 5 at home, then closed the series in Atlanta. Bulls win in 6. Eastern Conference Finals. The dream matchup was set. MVP versus LeBron, Bulls versus Heat. The number 1 seed versus the super team the basketball world stopped to watch. Game 1 in Chicago. D. Rose cooks for 28 points and 6 assists. The Bulls blow the doors off Miami by 21. The United Center was shaking. Championship dreams felt real. 3 more wins. That's all they needed. But Miami adjusted. LeBron locked in. Wade found his rhythm. Games 2 and 3 went to the Heat. Suddenly, Chicago was down 2-1, heading into a critical Game 4 on the road. And that's when D. Rose gave us the moment. Fourth quarter. Rose attacks the basket. Joel Anthony, 6'9", 245 pounds, steps up to contest. D. Rose rises anyway and absolutely demolishes him with a 2-handed poster so vicious it silenced the entire arena. 6'3" Derrick Rose completely blew up Joel Anthony, one of the greatest dunks you'll ever see. Pure anger, pure athleticism, pure D. Rose. But that was the last bright spot. Rose finished 8 of 27 from the field. The Bulls lost, down 3-1, season on life support. Game 5, back in Chicago, everything on the line. One last chance. D. Rose fought, 25 points, but on 8 of 29 shooting. It wasn't enough. With seconds left, the Bulls trailed by 3. Rose scrambled to get the ball, dribbled to the left wing, rose up for a 3 that could save their season. Blocked by LeBron. And just like that, it was over. An unforgettable season, ended in heartbreak. The United Center fell silent. Rose walked off the court with his head down, not in shame, but in exhaustion. He'd given everything he had, but here's what everyone believed. Walking away from that series, this wasn't the end for Derrick Rose. This was just the beginning. He was 22, just won MVP, just carried his team to the Eastern Conference Finals. The future was limitless. We had no idea what was coming next. So when people ask you about 2011, Derrick Rose, this is what you tell them. "2011, Derrick Rose wasn't just an MVP season. It was a 22-year-old kid doing what no one had ever done before. He didn't just win the award. He made you believe in speed, in fearlessness, in a why not? Why can't I be the MVP of the league? Why can't I be the best player in the league?" Because he was, at 22 years old, the youngest ever, and for one magical season, nobody could touch him. We all know what happened next. the injuries, the what-ifs, the heartbreak. But that doesn't erase 2011. That doesn't erase the kid from Inglewood who looked at the best players on earth and said, why not me? So no, you didn't forget how insane 2011 Derrick Rose was. You just needed someone to remind you.